Okay, today I'm going to be showing you the silicone method of how to replace a tired kitchen faucet. This one's got a couple leaks on it, leaking from the spout. Looks like some corrosion from here, possible leaking from the neck. Just time for a new one here. So underneath, what I've got is I went ahead and set the box up, and I'm just going to set up a couple of rags. What we're going to need to do is remove the existing supply lines. Well, before we get that far, we want to turn the water off. So, cold side's on the right, hot side on the left. Oh, and looks like we have a broken angle stop. So it just got more fun, and this is a dual angle stop, so it's going to be a little bit tougher there. Okay, so the angle stop's broken. Good idea to go ahead and prove that the water's off here. Cold side's off. Uh-oh. Hot side's still on. There may just be water left in the system. This is on an upstairs unit, so I'm going to open a tap also. Uh-oh. Shut off may not be working any good. So while that's going, I'll prepare the new angle stop. What I have here is this is a dual angle stop. Yeah, this is a compression fitting. I actually prefer the ball joint style fittings, a quarter turn shut off, but this is what I have today, so it's good enough. It's not my personal preference, but I think those are a little bit better. I have a video on those on installing a single shut off. So for putting the Teflon tape on, we're going to want to go the direction of our threads and go 3 or 4 turns around the threads. Skipping the first 1 or 2 threads to prevent getting it cross-threaded. There we go. Okay. Now on the side, I'm going to go ahead and remove both of the ferrule nuts, the nut and the ferrule. This is the little ferrule here. We're going to reuse the existing ones. Same with the back one. I've already removed the back nut, because we're just going to reuse the existing one that's on the fitting. You can see it right here where it broke off. Unfortunately, my water is not turning off, so that means this is going to be a bit more fun. I'm going to have to turn off a couple buildings, turn the water off, but I got to do what I got to do to get that going. Okay, the water's off. I got about 24 units off, so got to get this going as quickly as I can. It's a good sized piece of Tupperware. Put it down below it, catch most of the water, and we're going to need to undo both of the deals here. This is a 1/2 inch by 2 3/8 inches. So it's got 2 3/8 inch side ports on the side. Your particular sizes may be different. What I'm going to do is just clamp my vice grips on the back nut, hold that and keep that from turning. I need to loosen my vice grips up a bit here. There we go. And I'm going to be replacing this faucet today, so the faucet's not too much of a concern. And the supply line I'll be replacing also, so that's not too much of a concern. Just want to get the water going as fast as I can, so I can get people's hot water back on. Oh, you heard the water turn on? That means somebody somewhere opened the line trying to get their hot water, so they just discovered that there's no hot water, unfortunately. But this should only take 10-15 minutes, so no big deal. Get it done quickly. This is the dishwasher line, so the hot side of the faucet and the dishwasher line are sharing the same shutoff here. So there's a little bit of water for us. Okay. Now just lift up the supply line. Again, I'm going to be getting rid of this supply line anyway, so just going to get it out of my way. Just untwisting it up top. pull it out. Alright, that. Okay, we got that untwisted. Okay. And now we just need to turn out the angle stop, the existing one. And I'm not worried about the threads on the old one at all, so I can just get this done. On the new one, I'll be a little more careful as I'm putting it in to avoid bumping the threads and all. But this one's a chunker. Come on, buddy. Okay. And again, we can just reuse the existing one. So we can reuse the existing nut most times. Once in a blue moon, you'll have to cut it off. But most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you can reuse it. So we can just twist this in. And of course, this has got the water turned off. And we're going to want to make sure and position our line so that it's positioned in the proper spot for our dishwasher line and our hose line. Okay. Now I'm just going to be holding it and turning the back one instead. So loosen my vice grips. Flip them over here. Tighten them down. Hold the fitting. And just keep it from turning. There we go, just a quarter turn past tight. Should be good there. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the water back on. I've got the angle stop turned off here. This way I can restore hot water. The hot water is back on, so we're back in business. I can get back to doing what I was originally doing, which was replacing this here faucet. So I got the hot side water supply line removed. I'm going to be replacing the water supply lines with a little bit better, stronger braided. These are the higher bursting strength. I think it's 1200 PSI, something like that. Back here at our dual angle stop, we're going to need to hook up the dishwasher supply line back up in here the way it was. These can be a little tricky sometimes. Getting them lined up, that one seems like it's going to go just fine. A little upward pressure. I'm going to wrap a little bit of Teflon tape around this side because these copper lines can be a little trickier. With the compression fittings, we don't really need the Teflon tape, but I like to use a little bit with these copper fittings. And we'll skip the first 1 or 2 threads, both to make it easier to get started and also to prevent it from being cross-threaded. And just give it about 3 or 4 turns. Okay, take it off there. And now for setting the line here. Just feel for it going on straight. We don't want it to be cross-threaded. That felt pretty good there. And I won't be able to leak test that portion of it until we've got the other faucet in, because opening the line will turn on both lines, let water go through to both lines. But everything's looking good with our new fitting there. Okay. Now I usually use my Leatherman to tighten these down. My multi-tool pliers. You want to avoid squeezing these above the nut. You want to avoid squeezing them all together, but I'm just going to be turning it at the nut. If you squeeze up right above the nut, even by accident, you can damage the supply line and then you'll be starting over because you'll need to replace the supply line. And these you just want to tighten down a quarter turn past tight. And we're good. Up top, what we'll want to do is open both lines, the hot and the cold line. This way it'll push any air that is still in the lines out right there rather than pushing it on through the plumbing. The air is not very friendly inside the lines, especially where the plumbing takes any turns. What it does is it just acts like a water hammer and it smacks right up against where any kind of turns are in the line. So yeah, it's called air hammer, and it can cause leaks and stuff like that, and you don't want leaks. We don't want any leaks anyway. We're ready to open the line up, and I'm just going to open it slowly and you'll hear it start to push the air out of the line. So here it goes on the hot side. This is where our dual compression fitting is, our angle stop. So we're going to need to monitor for leaks here and here, as well as at any of the fitting joints as we turn this on. So here goes. Nice, no leaks there. For that one, we'll probably want to run the dishwasher after also and make sure we're not having any leaks here at the dishwasher supply line. Anyway, here on the cold side, which also has a dual line on this one because it's got an ice maker line hooked up off the side of the cold supply line. So anyway, I'm gonna open the line. And again, gonna feel for any leaks at all our fittings. And this one I'm feeling a tiny bit of moisture. Not so much coming from the top supply line, but coming from in between the nut. And that happens sometimes at the shutoffs if they're not used for a long period of time, or if they're just old. Sometimes in between the on and the off position they can leak. If you open them up pretty quickly and close them off pretty quickly, usually it's not so bad of a leak that it needs to be replaced. Sometimes it is. But sometimes you can just tighten this front nut down also. Anyway, this one is now no more leak. It was just, like I said, was in between the on and the off position, so no big deal. So going up higher, we'll feel for any leaks at the top here and at the middle. And we're good there, no leaks. Okay, and the last thing here is just to make sure the dishwasher is not leaking. So we'll go ahead and turn that on and try to advance it to its fill cycle. We'll listen for it fill, and then I'll do, there it goes, the fill cycle. And just feeling for it, for any leaks here. Tiny bit of moisture. A little more turn here. good there. Open the faucet also. Just feel for any leaks. Pause it off. While I'm here, I might as well take my dishwasher. Since it's filled now, run it, make sure it's not leaking from the air gap. So just advance it to the next cycle. There it goes. Oh, and it is leaking from the air gap. Sometimes I can unplug these by blocking the top and sticking my hand down and feeling for where the garbage disposal line is. So it'll shoot out of the top when I do this. Sometimes I can get it to clear up. Not this time. You're gonna need a special tool there to clear that. You can see where it drains into the disposal right here. Anyway, I'll clear that all out, get it going. For a lot of older houses, I hear a lot of plumbers recommend just turning the water supply lines off the house, the main water supply lines off, instead of messing around with older angle stops and stuff. So that's something you'll have to determine what you want to do there based on the situation. Sometimes that may be advantageous, but sometimes it may be time to replace some of those supply lines and everything anyway. So just depends on how you're looking at it. It is nice having an isolation valve there where you can turn off the water at the source. So it just depends on what you got going on, what your plans are. You have to use your judgment on those situations.